Okay, I'll start from the beginning. A very wise woman in Bali once told me that change is the only certainty in life. And I'm sharing this with you because I think, in a way, all of us resist change. And whether we are in a bad spot and we think that things can get worse, or we are perfectly happy with the current affairs in our lives, and we just want it to last forever. So I think that welcoming change as a blessing is a challenge. However, if we do so, then we can shape it. And in the small and big decisions in life, which will lead to change inevitably, if we use the full spectrum of the tools that are available to us, then we can get to the best possible outcomes, even when that is not obvious to us. So for me, the tools are, first, reason; second, intuition; third, what moves us; and fourth, passion. So this is integrating the rational side with what is not measurable. So first, reason. Reason, I think when we are in a big decision in life, especially in a big decision in life, it's important to use reason. So first, it's important to understand what is at stake and do the homework. And if we do so, then we come to a conclusion. So it's basically be prepared and weigh in the pros and the cons. Well, a lot of people just stop there. So they make the decision based on reason alone. So I would invite you to the second step, which is the second tool, which is intuition. So I was very fortunate because I started using intuition very early in my career. I was working in London early on, and at one point in time, I had a proposition that actually involved moving countries. So from a purely rational standpoint, that was the move that made all the sense, and even from a career progression. But I was still unsure. So I decided to actually consult with my godfather, a person that's very successful, that I thought was very rational. And as I was describing to him the situation, he asked me, so what does your intuition say? And I told him, well, actually, my intuition doesn't say anything. My intuition screams not to take this opportunity. And so he said, well, there you have your answer. And the fact is, this was an aha moment in my life, because I realized, well, it's okay to use intuition in a career decision. And I started using it then, and I continue using ever since. But you can ask, well, all that is really nice, but how one can tell that it's our intuition speaking to oneself? Well, it's a learning process and requires some practice. In my case, it's a feeling. It's a feeling of being right. It could be even an urge to go in a given direction, or even anxiety when I'm picturing the alternative. Sometimes it could be this scream inside just saying no if I'm picturing the purely rational path or solution. And so there is some physical aspect to it, but for me the emotional is what prevails. So but for some people it can be more physical. So for instance, you meet a person, and even before the person uttered a word, you can think or start feeling your hands sweating, or your belly can contract. That may be an indication that, well, maybe that's not a person to hire, even if the resume is perfect. So what I would like to convey is that intuition is not exclusive to some people. It's really something that is part of us as human beings, and it speaks a voice that only you alone can understand. So you just need to invite intuition in, and maybe in a moment where you're making a decision, ask yourself, first of all, try to feel what you're feeling, and ask yourself, is this my mind or is this my intuition? Nobody can tell you if you're feeling X, Y, or Z, is your intuition speaking. You will have to try it. And then this goes to the second tool, meaning. I think it is important to do what is meaningful to us, and only human beings can give meaning to something. So that will be what makes us smile, what moves us, as I was saying in the beginning. So, for instance, you can be driving and you decide that you're going to do a detour to see the sea. Well, the pure rational approach would be to just go straight because you're adding minutes to your drive. But the effect of seeing the sea has an immeasurable effect on you. The fourth tool is to follow your passion. So I think everyone can agree that if you're passionate about something, then magic happens. You make things happen. You can move mountains. What often people don't talk about is that you can't impose passion on someone. You cannot say to someone, well, be passionate about this. So it has to arise. It is either something that touched you, or it could be a person that inspired you. So it cannot, like I said, be imposed on you, by you, even by yourself to yourself. Just happens. So I think that if you have all these tools and going for you, basically, I think then, so just to recap, reason, intuition, meaning, and passion, then I think you will take inspired small steps that no statistical model could put for you. So because these small steps, and like that, you're already beating the odds, because they will only make sense when you look back, and they could not be predicted. And I think a lot of us, if we look back at our lives, we'll see that some steps we have taken, maybe the most inspired ones, were the ones that led to outcomes that were the best ones. And so for me, and the reason why I'm sharing this is my gift to you is, and an invitation, is because taking on this path, and maybe we could call it the last traveled path. It was like in Robert Frost's poem that, for me, it has made all the difference. It has been an incredible blessing in my life. And I also thought that if you probably hear this message from someone that, as a lawyer, uses her analytical mind a lot, you'd probably would be a little more open to the message, because I do factor in several factors in my decision-making process, including in my profession and in my career. And in reality, I think now more than ever, to use all the abilities that we have, all these tools that we have as human beings, is really a necessity, because with all the development we have in technology and artificial intelligence, I think we really need to focus on what cannot be replicated by machines. So if we think and if we feel, then we cannot be replaced. And in my case, as a lawyer, there are a lot of tools out there that want to replace what lawyers do. So you have even programs that write contracts, etc. But I think there is room. I don't feel threatened by artificial intelligence. I feel helped. So I think there is room for automation, and then there is room for us people. And if we use more and more what, like I said, distinguishes us from artificial intelligence, then I think there will always be room for us. So in this case, I think evolution we are still continuing evolving as mankind and as human beings. And I think that eventually maybe we can consider that evolution didn't stop with Homo sapiens sapiens, what we are today. Maybe, and just a maybe, the human being of the future could also be Homo spiritualis. Thank you.